We're hanging out with Jared, aka Jared, aka MCUD. Maybe we'll come up with some new names for him by the end of the interview. From the one and only Head PE. Yeah, how you going this morning, man of many names?
I'm doing really good. I've been staying busy. I shipped out a bunch of vinyls this morning, and then I've been in the studio just recording some vocals. And yeah, just staying busy, getting ready for my trip to Australia and New Zealand.
It feels
So,
like you're only just here, mate.
I know it was like a year ago. It was like a year ago, like exactly, I think.
We asked Elias from Nonpoint for some stories about because I said, "Hey, look, I'm interviewing Jared. Have you got something that might spin him out?" And he was like, "Bring up the marshmallows, Jared."
Uh, You know what? I'm sure there's a good story behind it, but the problem is that when we used to tour back in the day, I was so toxic that I just don't remember much about it. So, but maybe there was like marshmallows. I think like marshmallow wars or something like during the shows or something. Maybe that's what it was, but I
Yeah, he
probably
was
wasn't
saying
a part of it. Because you know what it is that when you're on tour with a band, the last night of the tour, you're supposed to pull pranks on each other. And so
yeah,
I
yeah.
think the last night of a tour, they were through a marshmallow war, but I'm not really into that last night of tour prank thing.
would you rather be using those marshmallows to bond over, say, a lovely hot chocolate?
Yeah, yeah, that I'm into.
You mentioned that you're in the studio making some new material, which is something we get to look forward to. But this tour is more so about material that you've released in the past because we are paying homage to Broke.
Yeah, we've never done it before, but you know, Broke is that record that put us on the map and gave me a so-called career, if you want to, but but yeah, so you know, so many bands do that, right? And do an anniversary tour. So we're finally gonna do ours.
Will this be the whole thing?
It's not gonna be like front to back, right? But I want to say that we'll be playing all the hits from Broke, but if it's not the whole thing, it would be like 95% of the record, you know. What it will
It's
be for sure is just all Broke all night, you know.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, because I
Right.
was wondering with the song selection, for instance, you've got the track "Feel Good," which features, Serge from System of a Down and Morgan from Kitty. And if you had plans to, maybe bring in some extra talent to help assist you with that one, what are your plans?
No, you know, we're just gonna have to attack that one, without Morgan or Surge. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the crowd will help me with their parts, hopefully. But yeah, you know, I'll have to work my way around that because for sure that's a track that will get played. Um, and you know, either I'll do their parts or ask the crowd to do the part or something, but we'll get through it. We'll rock through it.
Jared, mate, we have spoken. This is now your third time speaking with Sense Music Media. You lucky duck. And mate, I was recently made aware of something, and this is the greatest thing ever. What do you, Ricky Gervais, and Trent Reznor all have in common?
Oh wow, I don't know. Is it a birthday thing?
You were all in 80s new wave bands.
Oh, is that right? Oh yeah, yeah. Oh wait, who did you
Yes,
say? Oh, Ricky Gervais. Yeah,
Ricky Gervais was in one.
I'm a huge
Trent
Ricky
Reznor used
Gervais
to play
fan. Yeah, yeah,
keyboards in Slam Bamboo, which is available on YouTube and it's the best thing ever. And yourself were Prince in a previous life.
yeah, yeah. I was kind of the bastard child of Prince and Paul Stanley at one time in the '80s. Paul Stanley from Kiss. I was very confused in the '80s. Um, I was caught between new wave and Prince and heavy metal.
Yeah, and heavy metal one.
Yeah, yeah. But I remember that in the 80s, or was it the 80s? Yeah, the late 80s, when I played, one of my bands played for a record label, and the guy said, well, your heavy parts aren't that heavy, and the funky parts aren't that funky. And that really stuck with me. And I think that Head PE was kind of born out of like comments like that, that everybody
Yeah,
has to start somewhere.
100%. Not, and this is not making. Please don't think I was making fun. I love this, and I think it stands to uh, not everyone that you see as an established musician got it on the first go. It's music is a process. It's a journey. And I love that we've got, we had this start, and that, as you described, that led to you learning lessons and turning into Jared fucking Gomes.
Right. I think you will have some artists who pretty much are the same as they were as teenagers and don't change much, but then you're going to have other folks that have gone through their evolution throughout the years. I kind of got like my first record deal was like I didn't sign till I was 32, which is pretty late in the business too. So I had more time to kind of do this or that, being the geezer that I am.
I think it speaks a lot as well to like the diversity of what the metal crowd listens to. I mean, we literally wear our music on our sleeves most of the time, even some elaborate battle jackets, but that doesn't mean that's all we listen to. I mean, such as where Head PE really came in with a convergence of punk, heavy metal, and hip hop. That's like, chocolate and peanut butter and maybe some raspberry jam in there too. Shit's
You
delicious.
made Reese's.
Right. But remember, I think there was this one movie called like Detroit Rock City or something, where it was like these kids trying to make it to a Kiss concert. And it showed kind of how, though, really in the 80s, it was way more divided, rock music and dance music, or in that movie, it was disco versus like hard rock, right? So yeah, in the 80s, it was way more divided. And I think though, because of rap music kind of was more punk rock energy wise and kind of like, kind of started bringing the two sides more together. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's very interesting when you following music and cultural evolution.
Mate, I've seen you've been doing, you've been offering vocal work online. Has that been keeping you busy?
Yeah, yeah, it's been keeping the lights on. That's actually what I was working on before the interview. Actually, it was, I actually get a lot of work from Australian artists. Um, uh, I think Australia is our second biggest market. Well, I don't know. Australia and maybe United Kingdom are the biggest markets outside of the US.
Mm. And we do appreciate that because it is a long way to come here, and a lot of time people lose money. So it is good to know that someone
Well,
actually does it.
We're lucky that we still have a market because yes, it is very expensive. Um, anytime you leave the country, it's fucking expensive, right?
Mm.
But dude, like the flights to Australia are like twice what the flights to London are. And then the nature of touring Australia is there's a lot of flights after you get there too. But thank goodness that we have a market there, so it works out.
The album Broke is full of absolute bangers, but my favorite part of it is actually right at the very end as a hidden track almost. You've got an outtake reel.
Yeah, bloopers. That was the producer's idea. Yeah, I guess because he just kept laughing at all the shit I was saying, and he's like, I'm gonna record this," and he made that on his own. And I remember people really enjoyed that. I haven't heard it in ages, but people will bring it up to me now and again, and I'm like, oh God.
So you're still hitting the
What?
pipe before you jump on the mic?
No, definitely not. So much has changed, right? You know,
And
you're saying hitting the pipe before the mic. I definitely don't because it gives me cotton mouth. And then, like, back in the day, I used to party so hard before the show, which I no longer do. And I just don't even know how I was able to perform like so wasted. But oh well, I'm still here.
and you did all that before weed was legal.
Right. I felt like more of a rebel, you know. Dude, I can't even believe how legal it is. You know, I live in Idaho where it's still very illegal.
Mm.
But you drive an hour away and it's completely legal. So anyway, you know, back when I started in the 90s, it was so special to travel to Amsterdam. You know, it was like, wow, this is amazing, and go to the coffee shop and smoke a joint and drink coffee. And this now it's just, you know, you're no longer the bad guy. So
Have to find something new.
right.
There's another reason why I really like the outtake blooper reel, as you said, at the end of the album is because I'm the album itself did get a little bit of negative feedback or review, I guess it was, about some of the lyrical content that was on it, and
Misogyny.
yeah, in particular, which it's you would G punk for a reason. You know, the G was in there for a reason, and it's
Well, I think, yeah, go on. I'm sorry to cut you off. I think it was because there was some like, you know, some like songs about being mad at your girlfriend and really capturing that, you know, with and so people were could take that as misogyny or and also, you know, at the time for me it was like to kind of use like a hip hop approach to like lyrics and put them in metal. And you know, you never, well, I guess, you know, hip hop is so full of misogyny that it's, you don't even call it that or something, you know, just a different culture. So then I found that when you brought like Snoop Dogg lyrics and put them into metal, then for sure you would get into some trouble.
but it ultimately provided, that's that little bit of extra levity at right at the end of the album, so that you like, the humor came into it, the laughing and the giggles and the joy, and the fact that it is, like I said, is a bit more, almost performative. It's part of, I guess, again, that sound and that feeling, and as you said, very much also, a product of its time.
Definitely, dude. You think of some movies that were made at that time that they could never make now. You know,
Super bad.
Super Bad. It was the first one I was going to bring up. Super Bad, American Beauty, just so many. And same thing goes for like music. Like for sure, I hear some of the stuff I did and it makes me cringe, you know. And if I could go back, I'd for sure change it. But that's the way life is. I have so many regrets in life, and some of those old lyrics are some of those regrets. But it is what it is. Yeah.
What I would like to offer as a counterpoint, and maybe as a bit of support, is that there are tracks on there that while someone might throw the word misogyny at it, like a track like Pac Bell, I thought was a really incredible song about a guy who's losing it over a girl, and it's one of my favorite tracks on the album.
Well, thank you. And dude, it's like just like that moment of honesty. Like some things are better left unsaid. And then I was one to just say those things, or like he said the part you're not supposed to say, or whatever. But like every guy who's been in love, who's had his heart broken, well, not every guy, but a lot of guys are like harboring some really dark thoughts, at those moments. And then I was like, since I was going through it, like capturing those and putting them to music. But I could see why it's cringy to hear after the smoke clears.
possibly what the deepest cut of the Broke album, Bad Dreams. That
Yeah.
was stashed away on the good old CD-ROM portion of obviously I had the CD back in the day, and you had to put it into your 486. I think there was a code on it to get into it, but you could just hack into the back end of the files to access it that way as well. But yeah, tell us a little bit about Bad Dream.
Yeah, like I think it was meant to be a hidden track. Um, I was just looking at those lyrics earlier today. Um,
Were you
so
thinking of maybe
I've
including it in
got
the
like,
shows?
yeah, those are some really poetic. I actually like because I'm one of these like self-loathing artists that after my record comes out, I just fucking hate it. But as I'm reading through these lyrics, they're not that bad. Anyway, no, I actually still enjoy that track.
It must be like you mentioned Snoop Dogg before, and that guy is now pretty much a children's entertainer. He says it's just life's a trip, hey.
That is a trip, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
I had to
saying,
tell
yeah,
this
like
to my
he's
kids.
on
I,
cereal boxes and in cartoons, like you're saying. He literally is, though, on Saturday morning. Well, there's no Saturday morning. He literally is in children's cartoons. I've seen them. Um, what a trip. Yeah,
I showed it to my kids. They used to watch a Nickelodeon show called Game Changers, which had Snoop Dogg on there, and I was like, kids, he was on the murder trial once. They're like, what?
Now let me
what a
take you down to
trip.
the
Yeah.
dog pound.
Yeah.
Dude, it is a trip. Yeah, I always trip out on that. He's on a million different commercials, and of course, the most incredible thing are the children's
Yeah.
spots that he has post gangster rap.
The affirmation song is an absolute banger.
Oh wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, it's like it's him saying it's him helping kindergartners say encouraging words about themselves, and it is like, yeah, it will blow your mind. I highly recommend it.
Around the same time that Broke came out, another big record that came out that year was Straight Up, a tribute to Lynn Scott, of which you had a track on as well. Was hoping you could tell us a little bit about your experiences being part of that album.
Huh. Yeah. Um, how sad for my guy to pass so early. And myself and DJ Product, we just drove up to a studio and met Mike there from Snot and threw it together in one night, you know. One session at the studio was all it was. And then we did like the photo shoot. That was another thing. I just do honestly, my memories of the time though are not, I wasn't, what I do remember is that at that time I wasn't doing well myself because of drug abuse. So I don't remember enjoying myself. You know, one thing about those days, it's like when I look back on them, it was so many great things going on, but because of where I was at chemically, I wasn't enjoying myself. So that was another time where I think about what the photo shoot and the recording. It was great times, but I was just kind of so fucked up. So yeah, I always trip out when I see the pictures of the photo shoot and all that because it seems like another lifetime, you know. It seems so long ago and so it's so disconnected from where I am right now.
Yeah, I'll have to pull the CD out because I think that's got CD-ROM stuff on it as well, footage of that photo shoot happening. And I remember, watching it all the way back then and kind of also being blown away. And what you just said then adds a bit more context to it, which is why I do want to again watch it again. But basically, just how tall you were. Like you're just like this apparition sort of ghost walking through all the members and just like a full head above everyone from memory.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. I don't deal very good with people I know passing on death. Uh, I have my own way of dealing with it, which is kind of not dealing with it. You know, I'm not a fan
Sometimes.
I'm not a fan of funerals or whatever, you know. I'm not a fan of making social media posts when somebody I know passes or I just, you know, we all have our own way to deal with it, right? It's so heavy for me, you know. I mean, I'm heavy for everyone, right?
Jared, this has been awesome. Thank you very much. I
Oh, dude, I
cannot.
love it.
Yeah, dude, I'm so thrilled that you're coming down here again so soon, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, dude, it's nice to turn on the interview and then recognize who I'm talking to.